Can you become addicted to your trauma response? Yep, we're talking about dopamine. So, dopamine is a neurotransmitter and what we often call the feel good hormone. It actually helps us to link a specific behavior with pleasure. And this is how your nervous system may have you addicted to your trauma response. So, your brain is training you much like we train our dogs and cats. Whenever you do a behavior that your brain deems is good for survival, it sends a signal to release a little dopamine, a little treat to let you know, keep doing that. That was good for you. It's a way of letting you feel a little boost of pleasure, which will hopefully motivate you to repeat the behavior. And I think that's kind of cute. What isn't so cute is when that dopamine is released for behavior that actually can become harmful in the long run. If you've been following my series on how to reset your nervous system, you may already know that there are three main states that your nervous system is usually in. There's a regulated state where you feel good, usually associated with calm, feeling calm and collected, calm, cool, and collected. And then there's also two dysregulated states. Our activated state, which is usually associated with anxiety, and then our dorsal vagal state, where we're feeling shut down. And this can also be associated with depression. Trauma survivors tend to find themselves chronically dysregulated, and certain types of anxiety actually become a high dopamine state, specifically those that cause us to be extra vigilant and constantly watching for danger. In this way, your trauma response, if you're someone who struggles with being hypervigilant, who find yourself constantly on edge and watching for clues that you're in danger, you may be addicted to your trauma response. Not intentionally and not by something that you are choosing to do. Whenever we are hypervigilant, our brain is like, yep, this is going to help us survive. And so it sends the signal, please release dopamine. I want us to keep doing this because I want us to be safe. And anyone who's ever struggled with this kind of anxious rumination can tell you it feels like you have no control. It feels so difficult to stop the loop. Because you don't always know when you're going to be triggered into that rumination or hypervigilant state, it feels like it's a substance that you can't even avoid. It's not like food or alcohol or cigarettes or something where you can say, okay, I'm not going to purchase that. You'd have to avoid life entirely to not, and even then, right? And even then, the thought may still pop up and you find yourself in the loop or scanning your environment or scanning your social interactions for a sign that the past is repeating. And if you're not struggling with anxious hypervigilance, you may be struggling with that dorsal vagal state, that's feeling of shutdown, a depressed state. And this is typically associated with low dopamine. So as trauma survivors, we have a rocky relationship with dopamine. It's either we're struggling with that high dopamine state, dirty dopamine as it is, or that low dopamine state where we don't have that sense of motivation or pleasure in our lives. And so to effectively recover from trauma, we have to heal our relationship with dopamine. We have to heal our relationship with pleasure. And this is why I find somatic healing, conscious pleasure practices so effective. So hello, I'm Unique Val. I'm a certified intimacy coach and spiritual guide. And I wanted to make this video because I stumbled across these practices at a time when I needed them the most without even realizing it. I didn't even know I had trauma to heal, really. I didn't know the full depth of it, but I just felt a pull towards Tantra and conscious pleasure because I knew I needed to get out of my head. I spent so much of my life overthinking, ruminating. I definitely didn't have words for this, when it was happening when I was younger. But I just knew intuitively I need to like reconnect. I need to touch grass, but I actually need to touch my body. I need to reconnect with my body and get out of my head. And so I wanted to make this video because I don't think a lot of people realize how effective conscious pleasure is. Scientists have been studying the vagus nerve for over 2,000 years, but it's only recently that we're starting to see just how real the mind-body connection is because of the vagus nerve. So if you're not familiar, the vagus nerve is one of your cranial nerves. It's named for its wandering nature, but before it was known as the wandering vagus nerve, it was known as the great nerve. This is one of the most incredible nerves in your body. It travels down your neck, through your chest cavity, all the way down to your pelvis. So it has touch points with all of your major systems. And it is how your body communicates to your brain, and it sends signals up to your brain. 80% of vagus neurons are afferent, meaning they send messages from your body, from your organs, telling you what's going on inside up to the brain, and then the brain sends guidance back down on what to do based on that information. And so when you're dealing with a overactive mind, a lot of anxiety, a lot of energy up here, one of the ways to begin to quiet that down and become more regulated is to actually work with the body. And that way you can actually calm the mind through the body, through the vagus nerve. And so conscious pleasure is one of the ways to work with the vagus nerve and your body to bring balance back to your mind. So I'm a certified intimacy coach. I train specifically with a tantric practitioner. And so there's even more layers to this. And I talk about it a little bit more in this video, where I share a little bit of my story if you want to check it out. But I do want to leave you with this. So conscious pleasure, every time you connect with your body, whether that's sensually or sexually, it creates an altered state of consciousness. The brain that you have when you are in the midst of a sensual expression is not the same brain that you have in your normal everyday activities. In this altered state, you can encode new belief systems, you can change how you relate to yourself, to others, to even past memories. And in order to even enter this state, you need that foundational felt sense of safety. And this is where we start in all of my programs. We start by restoring this felt sense of safety. So not just mentally knowing, okay, I'm like in a safe place, but we all know that you can mentally know that you're safe, but your body may not know that just yet. And so I help you restore that actual somatic felt sense of safety, knowing how to source that from within. And when you're feeling safe, you are starting to exit the dysregulated state of anxiety or depression or shutdown. You're starting to exit dysregulation and come into a more regulated state. This is where the body can actually heal. We can't actually heal when we're dysregulated. We want to start by creating this foundation of safety. And once we have that foundation, you can use pleasure as a true resource, like a natural resource. It becomes like a way of cushioning your nervous system, creating a soft landing for whatever work or processing that you're doing. So something that is as seemingly simple as a chest or breast massage can then become this deeper experience where you're shedding layers of numbness and starting to open up and let energy flow again, using both pleasure and that sense of safety to help you go even deeper than you maybe would in something like talk therapy or a journaling exercise. So we're going to be doing that exact breast massage in my live program, Soften and Replenish. The next registration period is actually ending pretty rapidly. If you're seeing this, I'm probably going to extend it one more week. I'll give you one more week to join us, but we absolutely start next week, in that I believe it's the second full or the first full week of April. Do I have that right? I think that's correct. Yes, the first full week of April. So if you're interested in learning how to use this technique, use conscious pleasure to help you heal and retrain your nervous system, and also master nervous system regulation, get tools to regulate your nervous system using both pleasure and the vagus nerve, then you'll want to check out my 7-week program, Soften and Replenish. I've also included 3 bonus months of live group coaching because it takes some time to reset your nervous system. This isn't something that just, happens after a few weeks of classes and exercises. It's actually a new habit that you want to build into your life and into your, just how you move about your day. And so I want to give you the tools to do that, and also the extra window, the 3-month period, so that you have the support as you're starting to create those new habits and build that new routine. And that way you'll be able to go through the program even several times, go through the workbooks several times and the practices with my support, knowing that you're not alone on this journey, left to figure it out for yourself at all. So if you're interested in that program, like I said, it's down below. The link will be down below. And if you'd like to learn more about my story, then you can check out this video. And I'll also leave a link so you can check out the rest of the videos in the Vagus Nerve Reset playlist down below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you like this video. If you have any questions, pop them in below. I'm taking ideas for video ideas. And if you may notice that this video is a little bit different than my other videos because I'm mainly working on my phone. My Deeper Self podcast will be coming out pretty soon, hopefully this week or next week. So stick around, hit subscribe, and I hope to see you inside those podcast episodes. They're going to be short but potent, something you will definitely want a part of your week. So go ahead and subscribe, and I hope to see you either in Soften and Replenish or anywhere here on YouTube. Give me a like. Check me out. Oh, and I also wanted to add, Soften and Replenish will be open to all genders and orientations. There will be practice variations within the program so that everyone can find something that works for them. What really sets Soften and Replenish apart from all the other vagus nerve programs, books that you'll read out there is that I am actually a trained intimacy coach. And so I'm bringing in my 5+ years of working with Tantra and somatic healing techniques to truly soften and de-armor the body, the heart, the spirit. This is my dual vagal pleasure model for nervous system regulation, and that's what I'm sharing with you in Soften and Replenish. So yes, I'm bringing you these science-backed tools, but we're also blending that unique touch of conscious pleasure. The upcoming program is a 7-week live program. You'll receive 2 live sessions each week. The first is a live class, and the second is a live practice. In the live classes, you'll be learning the various functions of the vagus nerve and also those 3 nervous system states. We're going to go deeper into them. And we're also going to be covering how the vagus nerve may be impacted by your childhood and how it's showing up in your relationships today. And in that second session, that's where the magic really happens. I'll be leading you through a guided practice and teaching you tools and vagus nerve exercises and blending them with my conscious pleasure and deeper self teachings. You can review the full program schedule by tapping the link in the description below.